Who is Inde Navarrette playing in X-Men? Rogue explained. Warning, spoiler warning. This video discusses Marvel's new X-Men casting and Rogue's comic book history, including her powers, origin, Mystique connection, and journey from villain to hero. Marvel has officially revealed another major member of its new X-Men team. Inde Navarrette is playing Rogue. Navarrette joins a brand new generation of Marvel mutants, alongside Kit Connor as Cyclops, Sadie Sink as Jean Grey, Christopher Abbott as Professor X, Maya Boyd as Storm, Samara Weaving as Emma Frost, and Adam Driver as Mr. Sinister. The new X-Men movie is currently scheduled for May 5, 2028. But who exactly is Rogue? Why is she one of the most powerful mutants in Marvel, and why has this character had such a complicated journey from villain to X-Man? Let's break it down. 1. Who is Rogue? Rogue's real name is Anna Marie, although she is almost always known simply as Rogue. She's one of the most recognizable X-Men characters, but she wasn't originally a hero. In the comics, Rogue becomes connected to Mystique and eventually joins the Brotherhood of Mutants. Her early life is extremely difficult because she has almost no control over her mutant abilities. Rogue's power is activated through physical contact. That means something as simple as touching another person's skin can have serious consequences. And this becomes the central tragedy of her character. Rogue desperately wants normal human connection, but her powers make that connection dangerous. 2. What are Rogue's powers? Rogue's primary mutant ability is power absorption. When she touches another person, she can absorb their memories, abilities, personality traits, and even aspects of their life force. The longer the contact continues, the more powerful the effect can become. This means Rogue's abilities are constantly changing. If she touches someone with superhuman strength, she can potentially gain that strength. If she touches someone who can fly, she may gain the ability to fly. And if she absorbs someone's memories, she can experience parts of their life as if they were her own. That's what makes Rogue incredibly powerful, but it's also what makes her powers so frightening. 3. Why does Rogue wear gloves? Rogue's gloves are one of the most recognizable parts of her costume, but they serve an important purpose. They're there to prevent accidental contact. Rogue can't always control her absorption ability, especially during the earlier part of her life. So she has to be careful around almost everyone. A handshake could become dangerous. A hug could become dangerous. Even a romantic moment could have devastating consequences. This is why Rogue's powers are more than just a superhero ability. They're also a source of emotional isolation. She wants to get close to people, but she's afraid that touching them could hurt them. 4. What happened with Captain Marvel? One of the most important moments in Rogue's comic book history involves Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. While Rogue is still associated with the Brotherhood, she attacks Carol and uses her mutant ability to absorb Carol's powers and memories. This gives Rogue incredible abilities, including superhuman strength and flight. But she also absorbs Carol's memories and personality. That creates a serious psychological conflict for Rogue. She suddenly has another person's memories inside her mind. Eventually, this experience contributes to Rogue seeking help from Professor X. And this storyline is important because it demonstrates just how dangerous Rogue's power can be. She doesn't simply copy another person's abilities. She can take part of who they are. 5. Why did Rogue join the X-Men? Rogue eventually turns to Professor Charles Xavier for help, but joining the X-Men isn't easy. The other mutants have reasons not to trust her. She had previously fought against them, she had worked with Mystique, and she had seriously harmed another superhero. But Xavier gives Rogue an opportunity to change. Over time, she proves that she genuinely wants to become better. And eventually, Rogue becomes one of the X-Men's most trusted members. That's what makes her character arc so important. Rogue isn't a hero because she was always perfect. She's a hero because she chooses to change. 6. What is Rogue's connection to Mystique? Mystique is one of the most important people in Rogue's life. In the comics, Mystique becomes a mother figure to Rogue and takes her into her home. But their relationship is complicated. Mystique gives Rogue a sense of belonging, but she also introduces her to the Brotherhood. That means Rogue eventually has to decide where her loyalty belongs. Does she remain with the woman who raised her, or does she choose a new family among the X-Men? This relationship could become extremely important if Marvel eventually introduces Mystique into the MCU's X-Men storyline. However, Mystique wasn't included in the initial main cast announcement, so there is no confirmation that this part of Rogue's story will happen immediately. 7. What about Gambit? Rogue also has one of the most famous romantic relationships in X-Men history, Gambit. The two characters eventually become one of Marvel's best-known couples. Their relationship is particularly complicated because Rogue's powers make physical contact extremely dangerous. Gambit nevertheless continues to pursue a relationship with her. Marvel has not confirmed that Gambit will appear in the new X-Men movie, so any claims about Gambit appearing alongside Inde Navarrette's Rogue should currently be treated as speculation. But if Marvel eventually introduces him, their relationship could become a major storyline. 8. How is this Rogue different from Anna Paquin's? Inde Navarrette isn't the first actress to play Rogue. Anna Paquin portrayed the character in the original Fox X-Men movies. That version focused heavily on Rogue as a young mutant who was frightened by her powers and struggled with physical contact. The MCU now has an opportunity to explore much more of Rogue's comic book history. Marvel could show her transformation from an uncertain young mutant into a confident and powerful X-Man. That gives Navarrette a lot more room to develop the character over multiple movies. 9. Why is Inde Navarrette interesting casting? Inde Navarrette is known for roles including 13 Reasons Why and Superman and Lois. She has experience playing emotionally complicated characters, which could be important for Rogue. Because Rogue isn't simply an action character. Her greatest struggle is emotional. She has to learn that her powers don't make her a monster. She has to learn how to trust people, and eventually she has to accept herself. That's what could make Navarrette's performance particularly interesting. Final thoughts. So, who is Inde Navarrette playing in X-Men? She's playing Rogue, also known as Anna Marie. Rogue is one of Marvel's most powerful mutants because she can absorb the abilities, memories, and personality traits of other people through physical contact. But her greatest power is also her greatest burden. She can't simply touch the people she cares about. She has spent much of her life afraid of hurting others. And that's why her journey from villain to X-Man is so meaningful. She begins as someone who doesn't know where she belongs. She becomes connected to Mystique and the Brotherhood. She eventually seeks help from Professor X. And over time, she earns her place among the X-Men. Now, Marvel is giving Inde Navarrette the opportunity to create a completely new live-action version of Rogue. And with Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, Professor X, Emma Frost, and Mr. Sinister all joining the new mutant universe, Rogue could become one of its most important characters. The biggest question is how Marvel will introduce her. Will she already have control over her powers? Will she begin as an antagonist? Will Mystique be part of her origin? And will Gambit eventually enter her story? We don't know yet, but one thing is confirmed. Inde Navarrette is the new Rogue. And if Marvel gives her the full emotional journey that made Rogue so popular in the comics, we could see one of the most powerful and relatable mutants in the entire MCU. Because Rogue's story has never really been about stealing other people's powers. It's about learning that the thing she once feared most about herself can eventually become the very thing that makes her a hero.